So a musician friend of mine in New York City had known them for a while because they were selling merch for a lot of bands.
Yeah.
They still sell merch for a lot of bands. And he introduced them to me at a show, and I was a big Happy Mondays fan back in New York in the early 90s. And I knew the song Dennis and Lois,
Yeah.
but I never knew who these people were. You know when you hear a song like Sweet Jane, you're always gonna wonder who it's written about, or So I was always curious, and the moment I met them, I said, "Are you the Dennis and Lois?" Which they get a lot. And
Of
they
course.
said, "Yes, that's us," and we just kind of spent the night talking, and I found out that they worked for the Ramones, and I mean I just didn't know a lot of their history, so I kind of approached them about making the film.
And what was their reaction when you said, I'd like to make a film about you guys?
Yeah, they were like, I think, surprised that anyone would be interested. They still don't think they're interesting.
Right.
But they're actually, I found that, like, I mean, musicians, of course, all of them have stories as well, but like, their story is like so crazy. I wound up like, obviously focusing way more on them, but you wanted to just have the musicians just kind of like act as like, just, little stepping stones to their story,
And how did you secure such amazing talent for the film? Because obviously, you've got like people like Peter Hook appearing, things like that.
Yeah, well, they've developed all these friendships for so long, and these musicians truly adore them.
Yeah.
The dedication that they put out and the frequency of shows that they go to. It's almost like the musicians, just get to be their friends naturally. Not all of them, but most of them. And the ones in the film, the access was super simple because the friendship was already built. They're excited to be a part of it.
People wanted to do it.
Yeah, they wanted to do it. Yeah,
that's amazing.
It's like giving back to them.
I mean, I know when we were on the red carpet the other day, you mentioned that they used to leave work, fly to Manchester to watch Oasis play. Can you just tell the anecdote?
They're big Manchester music fans. It's probably Manchester is really their second home, if not their first home. Sometimes they say we're going back to Manchester. We're going home, but back in the 90s they were following Oasis, and they would literally hop a plane after work, get here just in time for the show, go to the show, the next day fly back home, and do that again the next weekend. And even Damon Goff, Badly Drawn Boy, he said that they would come to a show, fly home, and like 2 dates later on the English, the British tour, they'd be back. And they were like, we just wanted to come back and see your show again.
Yeah.
So they really just kind of do what most people don't think about doing. And
it's unimaginable to me, and I'm only 29. Like, how do you doing it at 70?
I know, and they're still doing it. They're set in their 70s.
Do you think they ever will stop? I mean, we saw briefly there Lois has hurt her hip slightly.
I don't think so. I mean, I think she's going to go as long as she can, or both of them will go as long as they can. They drive, they fly, they get to a show early, they get set up by the band in a safe spot now.
Oh,
It's not
okay.
about dancing and stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But they're pretty taken care of. So, as long as they can kind of, get the ride there and get in the gig and all that stuff, they get fed. The bands bring them out like, dinner
Brilliant.
and snacks and sandwiches and, yeah. So,
so what do you...
Hopefully they go forever, right?
Yeah. I've got my fingers crossed.
Yeah.
What do you think it means to Dennis and Lois to be showing the film here in Manchester tonight?
I think that it's really makes them feel really good. And for me making the film and knowing how much Manchester plays a role in the film, I'm very happy to bring it here. It's been an awesome time and experience. I wish they could have been here. They weren't up for the trip. They just got home from a tour across the States, and they're resting up for the next one.
Okay.
I thought if there was a band that they loved playing on this little outing, they probably would have came, but
I get it.
Yeah.
Got to save time for the things you love.
Yeah.
One final question then. What advice would you give to any aspiring filmmakers out there?
I was just having a conversation with someone here about licensing popular music, which is a struggle. I would say one bit of advice would be conscious of what you're using musically in the film, because that stuff can add up and can cost money, and could be kind of a pain in the butt to deal with. So if you can be friends with composers and friends that could give you the rights to the music, it's certainly helpful. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And finally, can we get Mark Young and John from